So this one says solve for this angle in LM, and I want to do that, but I need to first I got to figure out what x is, then I have to plug it back in, okay, then I have to find the arc and work my way back to the central angle. So I got to find the arc and then figure out that central angle. So there's a lot of steps. Let's start. So, ooh, I see something interesting. LN is a diameter. So I know it's a diameter. So I actually know maybe a shortcut here. I know that diameters create semicircles. This one on the left, this one on the right. And I know their arc measurements. The arc measurement in degrees of every semicircle is 180 degrees. So if I added these two arc lengths together, they have to equal 180 degrees. So 7x, that doesn't look right. 7x minus 10 plus 13x minus 10 would add together to be 180 because they're a semicircle. All right, so let's combine these two terms. And let's combine these two terms. So minus 10 minus another 10 would be the same as subtracting 20. And then 7x's and 13 more x's would be 20x. Okay. So I get x is 10. So now I've solved the mystery of the x. I can actually solve for arc in M. So arc in M would be 7 times the 10 and then subtract 10. So that'd just be 70. Take away the 10 would be 60. So now we know that this is 60 degrees, so we can solve for our inscribed angle. The tip of the cone is definitely half the snow, so we got our answer. Wow. Okay, good job. Let's tackle a new one. This is going to take a little logic. Here's the tip of my cone. That's my inscribed angle. And here's the snow it creates. Now going opposite here is here. Here's another inscribed angle, and here is the snow it creates. So I'm thinking I've highlighted the whole circle. So I actually know something here is happening. Kind of just intuitively, I'm noticing that arc FGH, this big yellow one, the snow right here, that arc FGH plus my orange one, FAH, I guess I could call it, just to clarify I want to go this way, those two arcs have to add up to 360. So to get to their tips, whatever this is, all right, this yellow, the yellow tip, if I divided it in two, should equal this tip. And FAH, its tip, if I go back, right, the tip of the cone is half the snow. So if I divide that by 2, and I actually know I can divide 360 by 2. So what I'm noticing here is the two central angles, this central angle, FGH, and that should be equal to the central angle, FAH. That intuitively or logically should have to equal 180 because they will make up half. This will be half and this will be half, and if I added them together, they're going to have to be 360. So if these are two arcs making up the whole circle, then their two inscribed angles have to add up to 180, and that's what we need here to solve the question. So I'm going to use this formula and plug it in. This inscribed angle, 21x minus 2, and this inscribed angle, 3x, 38x plus 5, we know has to equal 180. Okay, now let's combine these terms. So that'd be 59x, subtract 2 plus 5, that would end up giving you the number 3. Oops, I don't have a calculator. So maybe you could help me out. Oh, I got it. It was 3. I think the number 3 is coming up a lot today. So 59 times 3 would be 177. Okay, so I did that without my calculator. Now I like the fact that I made this formula. So as long as the snow here, right, this tip would create this snow, this tip would create that snow, that would take up the whole circle. So I actually know that if I add these two together, they should be 180. 7x plus 1 plus 2y plus 74 should equal 180. I also know, working the other way, this and this one, oh my gosh, so much going on. These two tips should add up to 180. So let me combine this one. Let me get it looking a little bit better. 7x plus 2y okay, so 7x plus 2y is 105. Okay, now these guys, I can add those up to equal 180. 2y plus 100 plus 6x minus 10 would also have to equal 180. So let's clean up that formula. I like to list the x's first and then the 2y. It's okay, I'm just adding so I can move that around. 100 minus 10 okay, and for now, I'm just going to leave my answer like that. I didn't really solve for y or solve for x, but I put together the two formulas where I could if I wanted to. And we're just going to stop there for today, of course. Okay, now let's look at this guy. Same idea. If two arcs are created by opposite angles and their intercepted arcs would add up to 360, then logically it would make sense that if I added them together, the two tips would equal half of 360, or 180. So kind of laying this out the way I laid the other one out. 10x plus 18, 4 take away 6 would be negative 2. Adding 2 on both sides, I'd get 10x plus 18y equals 198. And we're going to leave it like that. Okay. Got to do the same for this one. So 10x plus 16y plus 6 would equal 180 because the two tips would be half the snow, and we know the snow adds up to 360. So their two angles should add up to half of that, or 180. So we get 10x plus 16y. If I subtract 6 on both sides, I get 174. Beautiful. So you're saying to yourself, at least for now, we're just going to stop like that. But you might be thinking back way long time ago, and you don't have to do this for homework, but maybe some of you are thinking, I have a sneaky suspicion I actually know how to solve for those things, or at least I used to. Some of us also just took the PERT, and I bet those showed up on the PERT. So for those people interested in taking this a little further, I'm going to show you how. In question 16, again, this is just kind of for fun. So stop watching if you're done with your homework, but if you want to keep watching for fun, we saw two formulas here. In question 16, we saw 6x plus 2y equals 90, right? And we saw this other equation, 7x plus 2y also equals 105 in the same problem. So I'm going to write that off to the side. But I actually would like to write this one on top of that. Some of you might know why. Maybe in the next lesson I'll show you why. But this is called system of equation. And there's about 3 or 4 ways to do this. I'm just going to use one of the ways. So if I distributed a -1, if I decided to multiply a -1 on both sides, that's going to be really sweet. So on the top, I'm just going to leave that equation the way it was, but I'm going to multiply both sides by a -1, so that means every term's sign is going to change. So all 3 terms were positive, now all 3 terms are going to be negative. And so the left side is still equal to the right. Now I can vertically solve this. So 7x take away 6x would be 1x. This goes away. So that's why I did that. I'm pretty sneaky. And then that would be 1. So actually no, x here has to be 15. Now that I know what x is 15, I can plug it into either of these formulas. I could even plug it into this weird one, this new one I made. So any of these formulas I can plug in to solve. It doesn't matter. So I guess I'm going to plug it into this original one. 6x, so if x is 15, plus 2y has to equal 90. That was the first equation we came up with. So 30, carry the 3, 90. So if I subtract 90 on both sides, ooh, maybe I made a mistake, but that's what I got. So for this to be true, I got x is 15 and y is 0. If I made a mistake, I'd love to find out. So be sure to tell me tomorrow or in class. Also, try to do 15 on your own. Thanks for joining us.